It's time for a showdown in the Lego Wild West. The outlaws are riding into town, and it's up to our hero, the Lego sheriff, to stop them. But will he succeed? Our story begins with the Lego sheriff walking down a dusty street. He tips his hat to the people of the town who stand and watch him walk by. They know that he's about to face off against the most feared gang in the Wild West, the Lego Outlaw Gang. Will he be all right? We can only hope. As the sun beats down on the deserted main street, the saloon doors swing open, and we see the back of the head of the Lego Outlaw Gang, also known as the Brick Bandit. He swaggers out with 2 guns in his hands and yells at the townsfolk to get out of his way. His gang is almost here, and they mean business. A young lad standing near the water trough looks up at the outlaw and says, "Hey, mister, aren't you going to tip your hat?" The Brick Bandit turns around and points his revolver at the kid. "Tip my hat? You want me to tip my hat? I'll tip your hat for you." He pulls his hat off and uses it to clean his gun. Then he puts his hat back on and rides away on his horse. "Hold it right there, Brick Bandit," shouts the sheriff from atop his horse. "You're wanted for stealing from the stagecoach." The Brick Bandit laughs and rides into town with his gang. The sheriff steps in front of the outlaws and blocks their path. The townsfolk cower behind whatever cover they can find. One boy hides under the hitching post while his sister ducks behind a barrel. Atop the general store, the Lego deputy hides behind some barrels. Behind the saloon counter, the Lego bartender ducks out of sight. The Brick Bandit drops to the ground behind his horse. His second in command, the mustachioed outlaw, takes aim at the sheriff with his dual pistols. The sheriff ducks just in time to avoid the bullets. He draws his revolver and fires back at the mustachioed outlaw, who falls off his horse. Now that the sheriff has the upper hand, the other outlaws jump off their horses and run for cover. The sheriff looks around for someone to tie up the horses and sees the deputy hiding on the roof. He whistles, and the deputy comes running down a ladder. The two shake hands, and the deputy goes to work tying up the outlaws' horses. Then the sheriff looks toward the saloon. He knows the Brick Bandit is still in there. The door swings open and the Brick Bandit emerges. The two stare each other down, and then the Brick Bandit reaches for his gun. The sheriff draws his revolver. The Brick Bandit gets his gun up first and fires. The sheriff throws himself to the side and presses his badge into the wooden planks of the sidewalk. The bullet bounces off his badge. The Brick Bandit's eyes pop out of his head as he realizes that the man he's facing is the notorious Lego sheriff, the one they all feared. It's too late now. The sheriff jumps back up and fires twice, hitting the Brick Bandit in the chest. The Brick Bandit stumbles backwards, knocking over a chair. He falls and crashes through the window of the general store. The sheriff runs toward the saloon. Inside, he sees the bartender hiding behind the counter. "It's okay," says the sheriff. "I got him." He walks out the door just as the Brick Bandit comes bursting through the window. He scrambles onto his horse and rides out of town. The sheriff runs after him, jumps onto his horse, and gives chase. The Brick Bandit rides recklessly through the streets, but the sheriff is gaining on him. He yanks on his lasso and loops it around the outlaw's leg. The Brick Bandit tries to pull away, but the lasso holds. He struggles to free himself as the sheriff rides up beside him. "It's over, Brick Bandit," says the sheriff. "You're coming with me." The Brick Bandit kicks out his leg to try to knock the lasso off, but the sheriff holds on tight. He brings the outlaw's horse to a halt in the middle of the road. The Brick Bandit falls off his horse and onto the ground. Now that he's free of the lasso, he runs away as fast as he can. The sheriff ties the horse to a nearby post and chases after the outlaw. They run across an old wooden bridge. The sheriff is gaining on the Brick Bandit. He can almost catch him. The outlaw stumbles over a log and the sheriff closes in. "Don't move or I'll shoot," says the sheriff. The Brick Bandit slowly raises his hands and surrenders. The sheriff throws his guns on the ground and handcuffs the outlaw. "It's over," says the sheriff. "You're under arrest." The Brick Bandit hangs his head in defeat. The sheriff picks up his guns and puts them back on his hips. The two make their way back into town. As they approach the main street, the townsfolk come out of their houses. They cheer and clap for their hero. The sheriff nods to the crowd and tips his hat. The townsfolk cheer even louder. The sheriff leads the brick bandit toward the jailhouse. Onlookers line the street and jeer at the outlaw. The brick bandit hangs his head as he walks. At the jailhouse, the sheriff opens the cell door and pushes the brick bandit inside. He slams the door and locks it. The onlookers disperse. The sheriff walks back toward the sound of cheering. He tips his hat to the crowd once more and walks away. The next day, the townsfolk are having a celebration in the town square. They sing and dance and eat. The sheriff walks into town and tips his hat to the crowd. He's a hero, but he acts like it's no big deal. He walks up to the saloon, opens the door, and heads inside. The bartender is polishing glasses behind the counter. He looks up and smiles when he sees the sheriff. "Say, Sheriff," he asks, "what do you want?" "Me," says the sheriff. "I'll have a root beer, please." And so the celebration continues with our hero, the Lego Sheriff, enjoying a nice cold root beer. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this exciting showdown, give it a thumbs up. And if you loved the Wild West, check out the full-length Wild West movie available on a streaming service. With Cole Sprouse and Isabella Merced, it's the perfect family film for the summer.